The mayor joins us this morning to talk about what happened yesterday and the passion he has to making certain that this thing gets moved. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Russell. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Let me start with this. You said in your tweet, not a city statue, but I have a moral obligation to do my part. Now take it down. And then you wrote a check for $1,000. Not everybody agrees with you about this. They say that this is history we're moving and taking away. What do you say?
Well, I recognize that there are different opinions on this. There are heated opinions about this. There is an appropriate place for these statues, but it's not on the public square because it stands as a symbol of hate, stands as a symbol of division, it stands as a symbol of treason. It is not about the valor of those Confederate soldiers. It's about a time and a place in our country where African Americans were persecuted, where Jews were persecuted, where Catholics were persecuted. That doesn't represent who we are, Russell. And I could not have been prouder of this community, our sports teams, Coach Dungy, Bob Grease, and the thousands of people who sent from $1 to $500, who stood up and said, not on my watch. They told the county commission, if you don't have the moral courage to do the right thing, we do.
The moral obligation, I understand your passion there. But one of the other things you talked about yesterday was your concern that if it stayed, it might affect business for conventions and sports tournaments coming to town.
It would. I have no doubt that it would have affected. I mean, look at what happened in North Carolina. Look at what is about to happen in Texas when they pass legislation that persecutes certain members of our community. There is no company in America that wants to move its employees to a city where symbols of hate and division and bigotry and racism stand towering over the courthouse steps where people go for justice. They want to know, Russell, that their employees, if they choose to relocate to this community, will be treated with fairness and with dignity, regardless of your station in life, regardless of who you love, regardless of the God you worship. That symbol, separating the historic significance, represents everything that is wrong about the South and the Confederacy and the Civil War at that period of time. And it is unfortunate that we have a president that has doubled down in support of these hate groups and using the code whistles and the dog whistles of venom and hatred have empowered neo-Nazis, these bigots in bed sheets, the Ku Klux Klan, to now walk the streets of our city. Not in my city.
I know you watched what happened in Charlottesville. I'm sure every mayor of every city in America watched that in horror and fear that something like that could happen in their community. Do you worry about that?
I do. I was in New Orleans Saturday with a group of mayors, and to a person, we were all on our phones watching what was happening in Charlottesville, knowing full well that on any given day, particularly with flashpoints like these statues, that this could happen here in our community. I immediately sent a text to our police chief. I said, let's start preparation. Let's make sure our plans are in place to make sure that this doesn't happen in our city. And I can promise you this, Russell, our police department will not stand back when violence occurs. We will react aggressively. We will remove people surgically. But I don't care what side of the issue you are on. You are not going to inflict violence on someone else. You're not going to destroy public property. You are welcome to express yourself and your First Amendment rights. But once you cross that line, we're coming to get you.
Back to the statue downtown. Are you confident it's going to be moved?
I am. I think the county commission got a painful lesson, and that is if you don't do the right thing, this community will. I would find it hard to imagine that they would try to put another roadblock like they did on Wednesday in the way of the successful move of this statue. It will go to a cemetery where those people who care about this will have the opportunity to visit, but it will not be on the public square. And young kids of color will not have to walk past that statue and ask somebody what that means and why is it that somebody would hate me because I happen to be black.
Mayor Bob Buckhorn, thanks for stopping in. Good to see you.
Thanks, Russell.